Hello, my name is Hunter Caraway, and I'm going to be talking about why cryptocurrency should be accepted as legal tender. So, crypto has become very popular over the past few years, in that it started off really small, and then got popularized with Bitcoin, really, which is where it started taking off as Bitcoin got more popular. And it got popular because of the fact that it was a currency in which it wasn't backed by anything, and so people felt like they could influence the price of it, which they do, um, as Bitcoin is sitting at multiple thousands of dollars for one. Um, so, with that being said, why should it be accepted as legal tender? Well, there are many advantages to cryptocurrency, as crypto kind of has this thing where it's encrypted, and it doesn't need a central banking system in any regard. So people can kind of just do their transactions person to person without the need for a bank or any sort of other accounting thing, because it takes care of that on its own. So, what is crypto? That's a pretty important thing to go over first. So, cryptocurrency is it's based off of the blockchain, which is a really complicated thing, but we're just going to focus on two main aspects of it. There is proof of work and proof of stake. Forbes goes over this in their article, What is Cryptocurrency? And the difference is, so proof of work is you have a bunch of miners that people individually run. Anyone can make it. It's graphics cards, stuff like that. And what the miners do is they try and solve a really complex mathematical puzzle. And the first miner to solve that puzzle is awarded some amount of crypto. So let's say Bitcoin, for example, is when you successfully mine a new token, which is a little encryption bit, when you decrypt it, you are awarded 6.25 Bitcoin, which at the time that Forbes wrote the article was around $200,000. The alternative is proof of stake. And proof of stake is where you put up you put up as much money as you're willing to lock behind that, and then they kind of go through a raffle process where the cryptocurrency itself kind of picks random people based on how much money they've put up and awards them certain amounts of crypto. So what the differences, the advantages. So proof of work, the advantage is there's not much barrier of entry, like you can kind of just do it. The main disadvantage of proof of work is the energy consumption that it takes, because it is very energy intensive, whereas proof of stake is much less energy intensive, but also it's kind of like a rich get richer thing. So another advantage of proof of stake, though, is it can do a lot more transactions per second. So for Bitcoin, it takes an average of 10 minutes for a single transaction to go through. So for each time a Bitcoin is mined, on average it takes about 10 minutes. Whereas something like Solana, which is a proof of stake coin, can do 3,000 transactions per second, and that is a big deal. So why should countries adopt it as legal tender? Well, the thing about crypto is it's great because it has this encryption technology that it uses, that all cryptos use, where it kind of not only acts as the currency itself, but it's also its own accounting system, which can remove the need for a central banking system. And we'll go into that more later. So a big issue that people have with crypto right now, and why it shouldn't be adopted, is just how volatile it can be, because anyone can put in money and take their money out, which can arbitrarily raise or lower the cost of the crypto. And that can be an issue if you're talking about something that should be used as legal tender for other countries. But the thing with that is, if other countries are adopting it as legal tender, then governments are going to take a stake in that crypto, which means they're going to put money in, and that will kind of stabilize the coin, as they'll have like a majority thing, and every country has interest in holding it for the good of their citizens. So then Some countries have already tried it. The biggest example is El Salvador. They they said that Bitcoin would be accepted as legal tender. And the main issue they faced is a lot of their citizens were really weary to let that happen. Like they were weary to use it. Not a lot of them understood what it was. I feel like with the introduction of it being legal tender in other countries, that would kind of sort itself out. Teachers at Yale have also talked about how it may come to fruition, as over 100 countries are currently talking about accepting it as legal tender, and are considering it to increase financial inclusion and the efficiency of payments for their populations, which is great. So I mentioned before that it's great because it encrypts things and it removes the need for a central banking system. The Reserve Bank of Australia went over this because they say crypto is designed to do peer-to-peer transactions, which means just between person and person. So you don't need to know or trust the other person in that transaction. So you can kind of just do every transaction without the need for a bank. Whereas, let's say the US dollar. Currently, how it works is let's say you go into a gas station, you go to buy something, you take your bank card, so your card linked to your bank, the bank authorizes that purchase for you, and then sends the money to the gas station. Whereas with crypto, it would be you go into the gas station and you you use some sort of card or something to send the amount of Bitcoin or whatever crypto they decide to accept. You send it directly to the gas station owner. And then that transaction just goes through from person to person without the need for a middle party. So I think crypto has this really unique capability later on to shorten the process of payments and take out the need for a middleman. So that's why countries should adopt it as legal tender.